Good evening, everyone. It gives me immense pleasure to announce the Digital Traveler series open today. In the world filled with desires to reach out and experience the outdoors, it becomes imperative to create a new world with renewed energy and enthusiasm. In this endeavor, our partner in program has been the South Asian Travel Awards, a platform which has encouraged the South Asian tourism and hospitality fraternity come together for a noble cause. Today, we have audience who have joined us from across the globe. I welcome each one of you on the webinar. Before we proceed, a quick introduction of who we are and what we stand for. India City Walks is an organization that has won multiple awards, both nationally and internationally. We are a team of experts who deliver city experiences and walks. We have been published across various publications and guidebooks. At India City Walks, we deliver immense city experiences and share stories of sustainability, social impact, cultural knowledge in India. Our mission is to take Indian tourism synergies on a platform where it attracts maximum interest through the exciting variety of culture and the nuances to deliver these themes. We have been curating tours, experiences, walks, and specialty sessions for a wide audience across the globe. It was conceived and conceptualized to showcase both the historical as well as the contemporary facets of a city like a melange of cultures. I would now request my counterpartner, Mr. Mohammed Shamin, Director of Communications, SATA, to speak about SATA.
Thank you, Nidhi. It is our immense pleasure to have partnered with India City Walks to go ahead with the Digital Traveler web series. The main idea of Digital Traveler is to inform and advise and create knowledge about the vast dynamics we have in the region. Going back to the topic about South Asian Travel Awards, SATA, South Asian Travel Awards, has been recognizing the best of South Asia's hospitality and travel industry since 2016. This prestigious annual event honors stellar organizations and individuals in a wide array of categories. The awards now honor 37 categories in 10 segments and has reputed as one of the most coveted and influential awards to be won in the region's travel industry. And I'm very thankful to have all these speakers, panel members to join us on our first event. I hope this will be very much informative and beneficial for the industry and at large. Thank you, Anita. Back to you.
Thank you, Shamin. I also would like to thank our esteemed panelists today and their stellar recognition accolades I'm going to be talking about in our second segment. Now, when I talk about the webinars and the series, it is to cover India as a destination. Today, we begin with the Northern Belt, and we'll be following it up with the West, East, South, and Central zones for seamless dissemination of information and awareness about the themes and destinations in an inclusive and authentic manner. It is not surprising to see that overnight, there are many social media enthusiasts turned into heritage enthusiasts, creating and propagating content. The digital transformation, however, also needs sanitization. It requires nurturing and right information. In this endeavor, we have ensured to bring a series of webinars focusing on stories and anecdotes from researched and reliable sources. We are not going to be deep diving in each city, each destination in India, but we'll give you a glimpse of the overall experiences. If we try and do that, we're going to take a couple of weeks, months, and probably years to deep dive into our diverse destination. We will bring to you the new normal, the travel protocols with different, and so shall the ground explorations be. We will bring the best yet again in the new travel world. I now welcome you to our diverse land, India, a land of multilingual, multicultural, and heterogeneous population. We do not cease to charm any traveler who sets their foot here. Today's webinar is going to give you a glimpse of what India's majestic north, with its highlight cities and their must-visit experiences are. We will not be covering the cities, but we'll probably cover the best highlights of each of these cities. Our diverse land has 29 states, 8 territories, union territories, 22 official languages, 19,500 mother tongues spoken. We surely can overwhelm anyone. And if I was to continue in that number series, I must mention that we have approximately 33 million gods and goddesses. Yes, 33 million gods and goddesses. And for approximately 1.3 billion population, we always have had the liberty of choosing our favorite god. The religious and spiritual connection now brings me to mention about the science of yoga. I'm very sure our panelists here and also our viewers have experienced yoga at some point or the other, and I'm sure a lot of you are also practicing it regularly, just like myself. Our culture and tradition is best experienced in our deep-rooted music, our diverse range of cinema, and the beauty of colorfully woven traditions by the woven threads. With this brief introduction to India, I'm going to now talk about the glorious northern region. With its combination of offerings and facilities, the northern India is country's most visited region. It includes many states like Jammu Kashmir, Punjab, Haryana, Himachal Pradesh, Uttar Pradesh, Uttarakhand, and the national capital, Delhi. As mentioned on the slide, people of North India enjoy shopping, partying, music, great living, and of course, food. Moving to tourism, the highlights of the region can be experienced by visiting the mentioned cities and their vicinities. We will be together taking you through these cities in the succession slides. But before I do that, I must mention that we are facing a new normal. And no matter which city you choose to travel, you have to experience the at dawn, at dusk product. It's one of our safe travel products in the post-pandemic world. With a land as diverse and complex as ours, we will have to be adaptive to the new normal and ensure a safer and much more hygienic scope of experiencing our vast land. Some of our post-COVID unique offerings include at dawn and at dusk experience for scenic and cultural beauty. What we will do now is we are going to take you through the Golden Triangle first and then deep delve into the cities that we just mentioned before. I'm now going to share the screen with Dr. Shomi Roy, Head of Operations India City Box and City Maverick.
An interesting anecdote behind Delhi's City of Cities name is that historically, 8 cities were built within Delhi's present-day boundary by different dynasties and rulers. The national capital, Delhi, is unique with its 3 UNESCO World Heritage Site monuments, lush green gardens, mouth-watering food offerings, and of course, the night experiences. Being the capital of country, the city is extremely well connected by all modes of transportation except water. Delhi is an amalgamation of different cultures and traditions, giving the traveler an idea into India's cultural diversity. At India City Walks, Delhi is where we started our journey and before we expanded into other parts of the country. Our range of experiences in this particular city maximize over 90, and that you have an offering to choose one from. However, our recommendations always go into the country's best. The 4 experiences that have been awarded the Best Heritage Walks Award by the National Tourism Award, Government of India. We received our first with Mehroli Archaeological Park. The place is a must visit for all history buffs. Our second came with Old Delhi, for which I will be sharing the information in the next slide. But before that, our third award came for Gandhi Heritage Experience. This is a must for all who follow the global politics and wish to understand the world from the ideologies of world political figure and his non-violent ideologies. Our Hall of Fame Award experience is curated in Hauskas, and it's a must to be visited for all who wish to experience the uniqueness of an urban village. A place which will give you a glimpse of serene water body, lovely stroll around nature, few historic monuments, and a string of quirky food joints, designer labels. This place has a mix of everything. And finally, our most recommended specialty experience in Delhi, the Old Delhi Rickshaw Tour and the Old Delhi Food Walk. There are no words in this part to experience the city. If you are hard pressed on time and still wish to get a glimpse of India's busiest markets and savor the delicacies of the town, you need to hop onto our custom designed rickshaws and travel the length and breadth of the old city. In the post-COVID-19 world, when we will hopefully get back to the socially distant tours, these rickshaw rides will become one of the eco-friendly ways of exploration. After Delhi, it is time to move another 250 kilometers ahead and reach Agra, the beautiful city of the Taj. If you admire architecture, if you wish to see and soak yourself into the grandeur of one of the wonders of the world, you need to visit Agra. The city is a part of a larger northern Indian state, Uttar Pradesh, a must-visit place and one of the points of the Golden Triangle. It is pretty well connected by rail and road, of course, a bit of airway also. A densely populated city, Agra attracts all kinds of travelers due to the Taj Mahal. The city of Agra has a mix of architecture, art, craft, some colonial remnants, and a string of hidden gems. We have divided our experience into 3 segments, as mentioned on the slide, so the most offerings get covered. As name suggests, all of these 3 different themes of offerings cover every thematic experience that one could think of. Let's begin with the first, which is the highlights of Agra. Under this segment, as you see on the screen also, we have all the iconic structures listed, from Taj Mahal, Agra Fort, Fatehpur Sikri, you name it and you have it. But when you visit these places, they literally transport you back into the medieval times. Beautiful architectural details, intriguing stories make them a part of your once-in-a-lifetime experience. If this segment talks about everything which is related to the medieval world, then our next segment talks about the European influences in Agra. Different architectural style from what you just visited, different stories, and completely different view of Agra's history. This segment is in contrast with all that experiences the Agra city has to offer. The churches and the cantonment area speak of India's colonial history, and it's very famous amongst a lot of European travelers looking for off-beaten locations. Moving on to our third segment in Agra, we have the hidden treasures. What happens when a city grows under the shadow of a UNESCO World Heritage Site, one of the wonders of the world? We often forget the lesser known ones. We often forget the attractions of the other monuments which are available in the city. In this segment, we got all the lesser known and hidden structures so that you can get a holistic experience of Agra as a city. With a glimpse of Delhi and Agra, it is now time to move to Jaipur. Though a part of our western state of Rajasthan, we are covering Jaipur here because it falls under the Golden Triangle Circuit. Often called the Pink City, Jaipur has all the royal enclosures one could think about. It would not be wrong to call it the Majestic City too. The city, again, is pretty well connected with all transportations. It gives you a view of grand fortresses that Indian cities once had. Set atop on a hillside, Jaipur is a good mix of craftsmanship, cuisine, architecture, and it has everything that one could think of when it comes to color that sets your mind apart. With this, let's move to Jaipur's sightseeing experience. And in the next slide, what you see is something which is a mix of all that Jaipur has to offer. If you ever heard the line, once upon a time, India was a land of Rajas, Maharajas, elephant rides, and precious stones, and if you ever wish to experience it, then Jaipur is your destination. The listed category of tours in the city surely touches upon every aspect that the city has to offer. Let's move to our first cluster of experience in Jaipur, which is the city sites. Right here on your screen, the iconic architectural pieces the Pink City has to offer. It's a mix of museum, scientific structures, architectural marvels, and best photo ops. These places mentioned on the slides are iconic in their own definitions, but of course, my personal favorite is the City Palace, a place which has an intricate blend of Mughal and Rajasthani architectural styles. The bejeweled galleries will steal your attention like anything. So do make a visit to a City Palace when you're in the city. The Majestic City is incomplete without the grand fortresses. And if you ever got intrigued by questions like what happened behind the closed doors of these grand structures, then do visit these 3 forts. These are a must visit. Breathtaking views and mind-boggling stories. A visit here will be etched in your mind forever. However, I seriously do understand if history and architecture are some things that do not fascinate you, then we still have two more themes for you to cover in Jaipur. Let's move to the bazaars of the city. The markets of Jaipur can leave you mesmerized, and trust me when I say that it will ensure an extra baggage or two in your return flight. Color, textile, crafts, handloom, handcrafted, think of anything exquisite, you will have it here. And once you're tired of shopping, move to our next segment to relish the delicacies of the city. If you are in Jaipur, you cannot miss the special food experience. Order a thali, literally meaning a plate, which comes with bowls filled with different dishes and condiments. And trust me when I say this, Rajasthani thali is as grand and as big as their fortresses. Few of the must-try dishes are mentioned here on the slide. We have experienced Delhi, Agra, Jaipur. It is time to move to Varanasi. Yes, the city of lights. If you ever heard someone saying, yet again, that India is the land of ascetics, the sages, everything mystic, then make a visit to Varanasi to experience it. Varanasi, which was earlier known as Kashi or Banaras, is said to be one of the oldest cities in the world. A city well connected through air, rail, and road. A minimum of 2 days needs to be spent here to experience the best. Varanasi is a sensory extravaganza. And to capture the essence, we have curated 3 different themes. The names are right up on the screen. We'll begin with the first one. A morning of Varanasi is very unique, unlike other cities. The life here starts before the sunrise. The focal point of all activities are the ghats. One such ghat, the Asi Ghat, is famous for the early morning Ganga Aarti. This experience is surreal. Once the Aarti is done, you must experience a slow boat ride. An unmatchable experience, letting the worldly chores go by and you're just soaking into the rhythm and flow of the water going by. Apart from these walks, we of course cover a lot of monuments such as the Tulsi Akhada, Rani Lakshmibai Janmsthal, Tulsi Manas Mandir, and many more. Our next walk encapsulates the past and present, taking you through the details of the spiritual fabric of the city. Starting from a church, moving to a flower market, and then to one of India's most prominent temples, which is Kashi Vishwanath Temple, and concluding with an evening aarti. Surreal, quiet, peace and piety, if all of that was defining your day, then you need to add a little spice quotient to your experience. We have a food walk for which this gives you a glimpse of all the options that you have to explore, from breakfast, lunch to dinner, from kachori, malayo to jalebi, everything that you want to hear, taste here is available. The names of few of the delicacies I mentioned up on the screens. But let me tell you, from all of these narrow alleys, ancient temples, structures, stories that we have something different in our next segment. For now, we move on to India's first planned cities, that is Chandigarh, and which Nidhi ma'am will have to have the screen share.
Thank you so much. From the most ancient city to a very new planned city, a delight for architecture admirers, the city is often referred to the city beautiful. For all good reasons, this city is one of my favorites, as this is my hometown. I spent a good amount of my childhood years here, and everything I speak about the city is good and only good. The city is very well connected by road, rail, as well as airways. Being a planned city, you will not find too much crowd here, not too much population on the streets. The markets are beautifully planned. Everything is spacious. The mansions are big, and overall a pleasant view no matter where your eyes take you. Chandigarh is the best planned city in India, and the architecture credit goes to the world-renowned architect called Le Corbusier. As the capital of the states of Punjab and Haryana, the Union Territory of Chandigarh is a prestigious city. Le Corbusier has created the famous Capitol complex, and the walk at the Capitol complex is one of the best walks of Chandigarh. And apart from the Capitol complex walk, it also has the government museums of art and architecture and the Le Corbusier Center itself. Your exploration is going to be incomplete if you do not visit the famous rock garden and a walk at the Sukna Lake. Key highlights of the city is the Le Corbusier's open hand sculpture, the city's official emblem as well. It signifies that the people of Chandigarh are always open to receive and open to give. After Chandigarh, one of the most famous attractions of the north is Amritsar. Yes, most of you would already be aware of the city, which is synonymous with the Golden Temple. Let's now move on to the city's offerings. Amritsar is also known for the Golden Iconic Temple. A connecting city for most parts of Punjab, Amritsar has become the commercial capital for the state. The foundation of the city was laid by the fourth Sikh Guru, Sri Ram Das Ji. The following centuries saw many dynasties, power centers, the gradual building of the city and the Golden Temple Shrine. Amritsar witnessed the rising of the Sikhs to power, the coming of the Mughals, and many more historic events leading to India's independence. The entire history of what I just mentioned can be relived in the monuments and sites mentioned on the slide. With a vast history, Amritsar has become the crucible of cultural influences. The people here are generally extremely enthusiastic in nature, who live life to the fullest and take part in all kinds of celebration. One such aspect of celebration is food. Amritsar is home to one of the best food offerings in India. A lot in the city revolves around food, be it socializing, prayer, or festivals. Kulchas, lassis, jalebis, non-vegetarian delicacies, you name it, and the city has it all. We will now move further up north, and we are going to hit the hills. So let's move to Shimla. If you asked a North Indian kid or any kid across India, where did your parents take you for summer vacation? One sure shot answer is definitely going to be Shimla, the capital city of Himachal Pradesh. This is a must visit if you enjoy the hills. The city is fairly well connected by rail, road, and airways, and houses some of the best hotels to spend your summer holidays. Shimla was once the British summer capital. The city holds its legacy, heritage, and history very, very strongly. In this slide, as well as the next slide, what we have listed for you are some of the must-visit places during your stay in Shimla. However, do keep some extra time, as places in the vicinity of Shimla also take a lot of time to visit. And if by any chance you're planning to explore Himachal Pradesh, then even a week is less. A city in the lap of hills, it gives you tranquil moments to ponder over its beauty. The tall colonial structures add to its grandeur. Each structure tells you a different story, a different legacy. From here, we are going to move on to our circuits, some of the states. So over to Shumi to cover the circuits.
Right, and I think we are taking a lot of time, so I will fasten up the entire circuit experience. Let's move to one of the offbeat locales of spiritual India in the north, which is Uttarakhand or Uttaranchal, the place which is also known for its natural beauty of the Himalayas. This place rose into prominence globally after the Beatles' visit in 1968. While connected by road, rail, and airways, you can easily spend a week in this state. From lush green to yoga and meditation centers to Ayurvedic spas, this is a must visit for wellness lovers. Spirituality, mysticism, wellness, and nature. If these are your keywords for holiday, please visit this state. And yes, it is also all the offerings for wildlife lovers. If there are parks like Jim Corbett National Park, you have to visit this entire state with good amount of time in hand. With this, we are now approaching towards the northern peak of country's map. We have come to the crowning glory on India's geographical map, the serene and picturesque Jammu and Kashmir Valley. Reaching Jammu and Kashmir is not a problem, as it is well connected. However, before one plans a trip, you will have to keep a check on the political affairs of the region. The pictures here on the slide tell you a story about nature and its immense power to mesmerize you. Away from the hustle bustle of most Indian states, this is a place for all who wish to see a paradise on earth. Yes, known for its beauty and serenity, the people of these cities have beautiful cultural heritage to represent to the entire world. Scaling up further north, we have now reached a place which is every biker's must visit in their bucket list. Leh Ladakh is one of the most picturesque adventure sports in the country. Its unique landscape varies from rugged mountains with snow-capped peaks to pristine blue lakes, lush green pockets, the shifting dunes of Nubra Valley, meandering rivers. It is home to several monasteries covered with mystic and spiritual air. It is best connected through roadways and flights are available too. Sparsely populated, you need a good amount of days in hand to experience this place to the fullest. Also, you cannot explore the place directly after reaching, as your body needs to acclimatize to the weather and the conditions, given the oxygen availability up on the hills. So do not rush your visit here. Thrill seekers find Leh Ladakh exhilarating for treks across the Zanskar range, bike rides over the mountains, rafting down the Indus and Zanzara rivers. The people, culture, food of this region are heavily influenced by cultures across the Tibetan region. Best time to visit is April to September. However, if you wish to see or take an experience of the frozen lakes into solid ice, do visit in November and March. This entire slide with pictures do not really do justice to the beauty of this place. However, with this, we are coming to the final segment, and I will request Nidhi ma'am to conclude the one.
Thank you, Shomi. What we've tried to do today is be very ambitious by covering the entire northern region of India in less than 30 minutes of time. However, I must mention that the first segment of today has shown traditional themes of culture and heritage discovery, religious mysticism, and nature-based tourism being the front runners shaping the tourism landscape in India. Today, we presented a short insight on North India, and there are many digital exploratory webinars planned to share the Indian experiences for modern day explorers. Packaging more than 5,000 years of living heritage is almost impossible, but slices of experiences delivered on ground in this diverse land throughout the country has an immersive narrative of past woven into bigger theme of today and now. The Indian story is never complete without its people who have maintained a continuity of heritage even with modern lifestyles. Through these webinars, we will help you discover India and promote India differently. Our intent is to integrate social constructiveness around the mix of modern and traditional tourism delivery and management leading to happy planet and sustainable living. With this, we now are going to be moving to our next segment of panel discussion. It gives me great pleasure in introducing our panelists for today and my co-host for this session, Mr. Shaman. Our first panelist for today is Mr. Jatinder Taneja. Welcome, sir. Mr. Taneja is the founder and managing director of Travel Spirit International, an award-winning travel company offering inbound, outbound, ticketing, and transportation solutions to its customers. Mr. Taneja was also recognized as one of the most influential people in the travel industry by Travel News Digest and OTM, India's biggest travel show. Currently, Mr. Taneja also serves as the Vice Chairman of PATA India chapter, and he's also a board member of PATA International, which is headquartered in Bangkok. He's a member of the Core Advisory Committee of India MICE Alliance and has held office in various capacities at IATO in the past. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us today. Our next panelist is Mr. Nayan Seth. He's the General Manager at Taj Palace, New Delhi, with over 2 decades of prolific experiences with some of IHCL's most iconic luxury hotels and palaces across the nation. Mr. Seth is admired in the industry and a veteran in his field. In his current role, he's responsible for the continued success of Taj Palace, New Delhi. In his previous assignment, he led the fabled Taj Lake Palace, Udaipur, nestled in the midst of Lake Pichola, Udaipur in Rajasthan. Our last but not the least panelist for today is Mr. Vikas Abbott, who is the Managing Director of Vasco Travel, a family-run boutique DMC offering inspirational journeys in India. Vasco takes pride in thinking outside the box beyond the touristic map, thereby creating once-in-a-lifetime, truly bespoke and unique journeys. Besides offering inspiring journeys, the company also takes responsibility towards the environment and society and believes that we are because you are, and therefore makes conscious efforts towards responsible tourism and believing in giving back to the society, whether it's in the form of being associated with organizations like Grow Trees, TOFT Tigers, or using recycled paper for all kinds of promotional materials. I welcome all our panelists once again. We now begin with the panel discussion. And my first question starts with Mr. Taneja. So, being a part of one of the largest tourism bodies globally, what changes in the policy do you see that are going to be coming our way?
First of all, congratulations for a beautiful presentation, Nidhi, and the team. And thank you so much for inviting me to this panel. And thank you to Mr. Mohammed Shamim too. I'm extremely happy to be a part of this first episode of this Digital Traveler series. And thank you very much, and good evening to all other co-panelists. You know, we all understand the kind of unprecedented, unreal, and unimaginable times we are going through. No one had ever thought that we would be facing this kind of situation ever. The pandemic definitely has changed our lives, our businesses, and the way we communicate with each other. And for all these reasons, we can surely expect some fundamental changes in travel business and the policies to come in, you know. What I expect that the countries will be opening up slowly and steadily. We cannot expect all the countries to open up together. And whatever countries are opening up, they are going to take a lot of preventions and precautions before they open up for the tourists. It will be kind of more of a bilateral agreements between the countries. All countries will not be open for all the tourists from all the countries, you know. And as you see, Europe has started opening up, but at the moment, you can see only inter-Europe movement is going on. They haven't really opened for all other long-haul destinations. So similarly, we can see some more changes, and then I would expect when we are applying for the visas now, you know, there will be some more restrictions about the visas. We can expect there will be a requirement for a COVID-19 certificate, and even if you're going abroad or you're traveling to India, so most likely all the embassies are going to be asking for a COVID-19 certificate. Then coming to insurances, you know, whenever the foreign tourists are traveling India, you know, they are covered with the insurance packages and all. So we have to see that how the insurance companies are going to behave in the future, whether or not they are going to cover the COVID-19 situation. So that is going to really affect the business. If they cover COVID-19, they'll be the people will be more relaxed and they'll be kind of more traveling. In case they deny to cover COVID-19, and then it will be a situation where we'll see a little downfall, or the people will be really hesitant to travel to other countries. Then I would say the advisories, you know, which are issued from time to time by the countries to their travelers, that which countries are safe to travel, where should the traveler go, or where should the traveler not be visiting because of the various reasons. So earlier, there used to be kind of lesser advisories, but I would expect that in the future, there will be many more advisories which we will be seeing coming in for the travelers. And they'll be advising the travelers, okay, this country is safe to go, so they could visit and the insurance will cover them. Then, of course, the monuments management will also be a challenge. You know, the people would not like to go to the crowded places. They would not like to stand in the long queues. They would like to maintain a social distance, which is going to be a very important element in the future travel. So what I foresee that there will be restrictions, and the management of all the monuments, there will be kind of some policies will be laid down by the government. I see that Indian government is already working on that, and there are policies coming up. So these are my observations, that how is it going to be in the future about the policies, you know. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Thaner. We surely are in completely unprecedented times, and these policies will really, really show us the way ahead in terms of what's going to be the new normal going forward. Thank you so much for that answer. I now move on to my second question, and that is for Mr. Seth. Mr. Seth, Taj has had a great presence all over India and internationally. Could you please elaborate a little on your presence in the northern India, because we are talking about the north today, and how do you see this region in future?
So thank you for having me, Nidhi, and thank you for a great presentation by you and Somi. And all I can say is that IHCL has a rich legacy of about over 116 years, and we are better known by our iconic brand Taj, which has been recently voted as the strongest brand in the hospitality in India, and by the Brand Finance, and also in the Southeast Asia. We are the biggest hotel chain. And while I was going through your presentation, what you were presenting, basically, I just felt that it was kind of tailor-made for us, barring aside one odd place where we probably don't have a presence yet. So Delhi NCR as to start off with, which is generally the entry port for a lot of inbound tourists to come in. We got a presence at the moment with 7 hotels in the entire NCR region, and another hotel to come up very soon, which is the Connaught, which is coming up. This is barring aside the Ginger properties that we have. If we move in the Golden Triangle, Jaipur, presently we have 3 hotels, iconic Rambagh Palace, which is about 180 years old, original palace, and also the Jai Mahal Palace. And we've added Devi Ratn. So those are the 3 hotels that we have. Agra, we've got 2 hotels there. Punjab, if we move and see, so the Taj Swarna in Amritsar and the Taj Chandigarh, both are Taj properties. Then Himachal, as you rightly mentioned, Simla being the summer capital in the erstwhile British era. The Taj Theog has been there for a while, and it's been doing well. Present scenario, yes, of course, it's impacted everywhere. Uttarakhand, the Taj Rishikesh came up, which is the yoga capital in Rishikesh. And also, it was on the hot list of Condé Nast. And similarly, we also offer a kind of a wildlife experience there by the Taj Corbett Resort. If I further go into UP, apart from the Agra, which I mentioned, we also have, in Varanasi, we have got 2, which is the Taj Varanasi, Taj Ganges, and then the Nadesar Palace, which is a very small kind of a boutique palace within the compound of the Taj Ganges. And of course, Lucknow, which doesn't fall into too much of the tourist circuit, but still the presence is there. How the region will continue growing, because Delhi and northern part of the India, which is also the gateway city to the entire country, will continue getting a lot of travelers. Yes, there'll be a pause at the moment that we are seeing, and until that resumes, we will have to see more on the domestic front. But going forward, once the international travel starts, the interest in the northern part, because the kind of diversity and the kind of offerings that the whole zone has is immense. And as you rightly showed in your own presentation, it's you can have spiritual tourism, you can have kind of wildlife there, you have mountains, and of course, not to forget the historical reference. And another important part that plays very much is the food. And in the entire region, if you see that, the food is major impact on the cultural element, because all the cuisines are changing from one place to the other. If you take Jaipur, then it's Rajasthani cuisine, and Amritsar, you yourself, very well described what kind of food and the cuisine is offered over there. And similarly at other places. So of course, it'll always hold a huge interest for the incoming travelers, and even in domestic travels. At the moment, the domestic will do well, and even domestic and international both will have a lot of interest in visiting these places.
Yes, thank you so much for that. I do understand that expansions will continue, and there'll be more hotels and there'll be more things that keep happening, and northern region is something that will continue to keep growing, and with happy people and happy food around all the time, there's only happiness that we can talk about in this region. So thank you so much for that. I now move on to the third panelist. Of course, Mr. Abbott is right here, and Mr. Abbott is a third generation into the business with vast experience. How does the changing market dynamics impact your share in the industry?
Thank you, Nidhi. Thank you for having me. And the presentation so far has been great. See, as you rightly mentioned about us, we've always been in the niche segment of the market, and we've always focused on the experiential and the sustainable piece of tourism. And moving forward in the new normal, I feel that this is where the demand will grow. And people today are not looking for just standard cookie cutter programs and sightseeing. They're looking for something beyond the touristic trap. They want to experience, they want to feel the culture. You mentioned about food, you've mentioned about different walks, and moving forward, this is where I feel the growth will be there. And fortunately for us, we've been in this space of business, and I feel that our share in the market definitely in the new normal will grow. Yes, we will have to adapt ourselves, to the changing market dynamics. The likes of the people will change, their preferences will change. People, I feel, will look for more open spaces, boutique properties, and like I said, more on the experiential side. So I feel that this is where we still, we all should focus on.
Sure.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that.
Thank you all the panel members. This round has been very insightful indeed. Our question next is for Mr. Thaneja. Do you think that the Indian tourism industry will be able to bounce back by the next season or early? If yes, what changes should MSME be ready with to embrace the opening of the market?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. A common consensus of the industry at the moment is that first we have to survive, and then we revive our business, and thereafter we thrive. So currently, what we feel that we are really fighting for the survival. And as you would know that for some unknown reasons, no direct support has been given to the tourism industry by the government so far, except the inclusion of travel industry in the MSME sector. So there is no direct support to the industry so far. And many other countries, if you see, they have offered, or they are offering great stimulus packages. The government is kind of paying salaries and wages in case the people have lost their jobs, offering loans without any interest. Airlines are also getting aids, the deferral of taxes, suspension of VAT. So the package from the other government, from the other countries have been great to the tourism industry. But unfortunately, we are on our own at the moment. But on a positive note, I think Indian tourism is very resilient, and it should, and it will bounce back. And what I have always felt, that the travel is in kind of in the blood streams of human being now. They cannot really stay without traveling. The people are actually itching to travel now, but only for the safety and security reasons they are holding it back, and they cannot really move out of the office. So they are looking for the safe travel. And what I feel from India, the essential domestic business travel will start first, and the people will start traveling for business, and it will be followed by leisure travel, short distance holidays. If the people are living in Delhi, so they would like to move to Jaipur, or in between 2-3 hours drive, and they would rather go in their cars than going by the flights and get, going to the airport, checking in, checking out. So they would avoid those kind of situations at the moment. So short distance holidays will pick up, and thereafter, the international travel will start. Now to predict that when the international business is going to start is very difficult at the moment. It really depends upon the situation, that how our country is being able to handle the COVID situation. And what I would feel, that in case we are able to get the business going, or business starts trickling in from November, December onwards, it will be, I think, fine for all of us, because before that, I doubt that any international business will start. But at the same time, the business will change. How we are going to handle the situation, and the ideal situation for everybody will be the availability of vaccine for COVID-19. In case that comes in, so the business can start even earlier. Otherwise, if we start living with COVID-19 and start traveling with that thing in our mind, then of course there will be a lot of changes, and the travel business will not be the same. At that, in case we are traveling with this thing in our mind, that the COVID-19 is going to stay, and then the people will be looking for safety, security, and hygiene everywhere, wherever they are traveling. So whether it's a airport, or the aircraft, or the surface transport, the cars, the trains, the hotels, even the midways, wherever the travelers are going to stop for their mid meals and all. So they are going to be looking for the hygiene and the safety and security. So this is the future, what I look at the moment. And I also feel that, these standards will be kind of very easy for the luxury hotels to provide, because they got all the means to provide all this safety, security, hygiene. But majority of business which comes to India is kind of looking for 3-star and 4-star hotels. So my worry will be that how they are going to handle it. Whether they are able to provide these safety and security measures, and the people will be confident to travel in those hotels or not. So let's hope for the best. And international travel, let's hope that it starts sometime in end of the year or beginning of the next year. Thank you so much. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Taneja. My next question is for Mr. Seth. I think this is a question that most of our viewers would be wanting an answer to. Hotels like yours have been chosen and converted to as COVID facilities by the government. How adversely does this impact you? If not, how does it help?
So, we are part of the larger Tata Group, and always at the IHCL, being part of the Tata Group, we've always had the community at the center of everything that we do, and taking over from there, we had done a lot of steps in this pandemic, when the pandemic had struck. And from our group point of view, we started off with housing the doctors who were the medical practitioners at our hotels in Mumbai. We also did, and it's over 2 million meals that we have done for the medical practitioners, and also for the migrant laborers. That is the kind of sense of responsibility that our group takes, and we kind of collaborate with the government and help them. So these are the various initiatives that we have taken. And yes, we did offer our Ginger brand to be converted and attached to the hospitals. And this is just to facilitate the government with the shortage of beds that they had. My own hotel, Taj Palace, we've partnered with the government in the repatriation business, where a lot of Indians are coming back from abroad and they have to undergo a institutional quarantine, mandatory institutional quarantine. So in a sense, like we take it as more of our responsibility to contribute to the society. and we have taken all steps towards that. It definitely has a positive impact, and and will continue to have a positive impact because people do realize the contribution as a responsible corporate citizen when we make, and also we are one of the trusted brands, so on those front. So I'm sure in the longer term it's going to have a positive impact because it's all about, as Mr. Taneja just mentioned, about the hygiene, sanitization, and the laid down SOPs. There's zero compromise on that, and even with regards to the associates' health and safety. So we are pretty confident that it'll have a positive impact.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Seth. My next question is to Mr. Abbott. We understand that vascular troubles concentrated heavily on inbound tourism, gradually moved into outbound tourism. Would the pandemic make any further changes and let you introduce something new within the domestic tourism?
Thank you, Shamim. Thank you very much. You see, I feel that inbound and domestic, they go hand in hand. And we've been in the business for a while, and people know us for the knowledge, the expertise we have, and our product knowledge has always been our forte. Today's traveler, I feel, is very well informed. They are very well educated. They are global travelers. So our idea on the domestic front is to introduce experiences which we've been selling in the inbound space. Like I said, both go hand in hand. So we've been doing walks in Shimla, we've been doing culinary experiences, and this is where I feel that the domestic space in India has the right potential. And if we market it well, this is where the demand will be. We should look at wildlife tourism. There are family holidays, and the idea should be to impart knowledge with the next generation, how it used to be back in the days. And all of this is possible only if we focus purely on the experiential side, and we need to give something beyond what the players in the domestic sector have already been doing. So if what we plan to do is, like I said, is to share our inbound knowledge in the domestic sector. So this is where I feel we all as an industry should focus and offer something new, offer something beyond the touristic trap, I would say. Thank you.
Thank you. I so very much agree with what you have said, Mr. Abbott, because I think the domestic traveler is equally enthusiastic about our own country, especially after the pandemic. I think people are going to get extremely excited to visit one's own country and see the attractions we have and the wide variety of experiences that we have in our own country as well. Now, this brings me to another question for Mr. Taneja. And Sir, Travel Spirit India, being one of the finest names in the travel industry and niche tourism, what are the changes you see in Northern Belt that will have to accommodate to overcome the slowdown in tourism? In other words, if I was to say, what are the loopholes that we earlier used to overlook and now will need to be mended?
Thank you, Nidhi. Not only Northern Belt, I think we need to adapt the changes for the future, for the tourism in future, and this will be for everybody, all sectors or all circuits, And as Mr. Abbott said very rightly, we are talking about the ecotourism and all. So at the moment, most important for all of us is to promote eco-friendly, sustainable, and responsible tourism. In the past, if you see, this subject has been kind of ignored. And I would say that our Mother Earth was taken for granted, and we have not really used the gifts of nature sensibly. And what I feel that gods also seem to be very unhappy and sending some strong messages through this pandemic, earthquakes, and super cyclones to all the humanity. If you see the pollution level in our metros, what we've been experiencing in the past in Delhi, we all know about it. Look at the mountains, you know, they are being converted into concrete buildings. Our rivers have been so polluted, and the damage done to our forests. So basically, this is a time to kind of reset ourselves, and we need to look at how we can promote sustainable and environment-friendly tourism in the future. We must introspect ourselves to take care of our Mother Earth and promote environment-friendly tourism. We've been doing this for the past many years, and the results have been really, really good, you know, from the tour operators. And, you know, when we are looking at the groups, so probably they are looking for more standardized packages because they are very conscious about the price, what they pay. But for families and individual holidays, they are always looking for experiential holidays. So we need to definitely add these values more in the future. And secondly, what I feel now that it's a time for mutual cooperation among all the segments of the industry, be it airlines or the tour operators or the hotels. You know, if we can join hands and promote tourism jointly, it will be mutually beneficial for all of us. What we are experiencing at the moment, you know, there is a struggle going on between the tour operators or travel agents and the airlines, or between the tour operators and the let's say the forest departments. So those things we have to come over and kind of join hands in promoting tourism together. So the coordination and more harmony will really help us mutually, you know. And thirdly, I would say the most important thing when we are promoting inbound tourism or even domestic tourism is the connectivity and the infrastructure. So in the past, you know, we had bad roads, very bad connectivity between the cities. And now lately, for the last couple of years, I think that it was improving. You know, the government was taking good steps in that direction. And the roads were improving and the connectivity was getting better. But then we faced this pandemic situation. So I think the government should keep working on those lines. We must have better connectivity, because the reason, you know, when we are traveling in India, and especially from one city to another city, mostly it's by road, because the distances are 100 kilometers, 150 kilometers, and then you land up at another beautiful location or beautiful monument. So you want to stop. So everywhere you cannot really go by train or by air. So it's very important that we have good roads. There's a long way to go if we compare our roads to the international standards. But I hope that it will get better in the future. Yeah. And at the same time, another point which I would like to mention is the experience what we offer at the monuments to the foreign tourists, which is not probably the best experience at the moment which we are giving. You know, there you will see a lot of hawkers there, you will see a lot of beggars there, and then when you are at the entrance, so you see long queues. So there is no experience. That experience is still missing. So I would say the government, or we should work towards that we can give that experience to the client, and he goes back more happy, or you know, it will be better than before. So that's what I would say, and thank you very much, Nidhi.
Yeah, I think that's a great point that you've made, to reset, introspect, coordinate, better infrastructure, and overall better experiences. I
Absolutely.
think that's the crux of what you've told us, and I think that's the way that we'd have to mend ourselves going forward and create you know, better pieces all around us.
Absolutely.
Now, taking a cue from what you just mentioned, and I'm going to move my question to Mr. Seth. You know, brands like Taj have unmatched legacy. But now that people and travelers, like Mr. Taneja mentioned, are going to be more price conscious, how would you think that you're going to tackle the price competitive market?
See, price competitive market has always been there. It's the value that decides. It's always the customer perceived value that decides the price point, and what is the experiential part that a particular hotel or a destination offers. So obviously, great experiences will command prices and will be completely value driven. Having said that, yes, demand and supply on the other side, also the demand and supply is a price determinant. So, but I think so the greater focus will remain on value and the experiential part, and we'll continue. And that is the reason we have kind of already kind of innovated our product offering, and we have done, but like just was being mentioned about, like families driving down. So we've already come up with our initiative of Dream, Drive, Discover, and Delight. So, this is, we've understood that there's an amount of pent-up demand which people are, have been kind of confined to their homes and not been able to move. So domestically, yes, international movement may not be happening, but domestically, friends and families can either go together in their own vehicle. And, all the entire Northern India belt that you showed, if I take the outgoing city as Delhi, they're all approachable by road, with the travel distance of about 4 hours or 5 hours at outer limit. And so, or maybe with stopovers, following day. So that will continue. And once we have, since the time we have launched this, we have seen good traction coming in our states and cities where the hotels are allowed to open. Unfortunately, it's not been allowed to open in Delhi as yet. So our next product offering of the urban gateways, which we fall under, we've not been able to do it, but our sister hotel in Gurgaon, for example, has already started seeing a lot of traction coming in for people. That's not, it's saving people's time to not travel and not travel by air or travel by train, which is kind of, airlines are still open, but train and extra not happening. And with the comfort and the safety of their own car or car hired from the hotel, which is properly sanitized and taken care of. And as I mentioned earlier, there'll be a huge amount of, people, when you talk about the price point, and it's the value proposition that is going to pay, and people will gravitate towards trusted brands. So, there is a lot of thing in the mind of people that will remain where they should go, and how sure are they of the safety and the hygiene procedure, which we have kind of re-strengthened in our commitment towards Tajness. And we have, been following all the laid down procedures and policies of either the Ministry of Health Affairs or the local governments. And even we have deployed our, experts to kind of help us to already amplify the hygiene standards that we had. So it's a matter where people will gravitate towards the trusted brands and come across.
I'm so glad you mentioned about demand and value proposition, because when we're talking about demand and value proposition, it will now bring me to the next question for Mr. Abbott. That, while we're talking about demand and we're talking about value proposition as well, do you think that an outreach program, massive skill development channels among the locals would help in these circumstances? And do you think we need more trained hands and legs within on-ground delivery system of tourism, while the hotels take care of their staff and ensure that part is taken care of? How do we overall look at it in tourism?
Thank you, Nidhi. I think training is the most important aspect moving forward. We're all talking about the new normal, the new COVID standards, the hygiene aspect. All of this is possible only by training. And the training, the hotels are doing their bit, but formal institutions, I feel it's important for them. We need to train the guides. We need to train our file handlers. They need to know the likes and the dislikes of the millennials. The patterns of tourism have completely changed. People are not traveling just to see the important sites. And like we've all been talking about experiences. So all of this is possible only if we focus on the training aspect, so that at the end of the day, we are able to deliver what our client wants. If the training is not right, then the whole experience and the new normal, all of that can, we will not be able to deliver what we're trying to achieve. So at the end of the day, I think training is going to be the most important aspect, and the training has to be at all levels. Yeah.
Thank you so much for that, Mr. Abbott. I so agree with you that the demand needs to be handled with the right skills and competencies, and that's the real marriage between the two. Yes. I would now request all our panelists for their parting comments on the session. So let me start with the same flow with Mr. Taneja. If you could share your parting comments with us, please.
Thank you, Nidhi. It was wonderful to interact with all of you and listen to very important panelists. And as I said in the beginning, that we all are going through the most difficult times. So I would say that as long as possible, don't give in, try your best and keep going as long as we can. And keep working towards the environment and eco-friendly tourism, which I fully agree with Vikas, that is the key for our future business. And of course, keep looking after our Mother Earth. So I'm sure that this time too shall pass and we'll come back to normal or new normal very soon. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir. Mr. Seth, your parting comments, please.
So thank you for organizing this and having me. And also, there is a series of this that will be coming in, and I'll be eagerly watching for that. Obviously, giving a lot of insight on other areas, some areas which may not have been visited, rather many in my country that I would have not visited. The only thing that I would like to add, because everybody would be doing their best to get the hygiene standards and everything to kind of get that out of the mind of people, reinforce confidence. And this will be a time again to promote the destination. And if the destination is taken well, I think so we all stand collectively to gain and win. It's not going to be about my hotel, my agency, my DMC. It's going to be the destination. And the destination will always get all of us winning together. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. Mr. Abbott, your parting comments, please.
Thank you, Nidhi. So the last 1 hour has been excellent with the co-panelists. I feel, my last comments would be that we all need to think out of the box. It is a challenging time. We need to think out of the ordinary. We need to innovate, because the product, the programs, they will change. As we're all talking about the new normal, so it is important for all the industry, the entire industry, to think out of the box and innovate. So that is my last, my comments for the meeting.
Thank you so much. I think overall, we've had a great session for today. I thank all the panelists once again. I think great synchronization. We got a whole lot of answers out of you for our viewers. I'm sure they'll be eagerly waiting to listen to this. And I'm sure going forward with all the other webinars, also we'll have more and more people interested in the destination as well, and wanting to come back and come out of their homes and experience this overall destination. Shaman, if you'd like to add any parting comments from your end, please.
Yeah, of course. Thank you won't be enough for the insights and for the informations and for the overall project we're doing. But thank you, for being part of this wonderful initiative. We look forward to have you join us for the upcoming sessions of West, East, South, and Central India, covering new destinations and experiences. This information would be published on SATA website and Facebook page. Do stay connected and stay safe. On behalf of SATA and ICW, thank you. This is Shamin.
And Nidhi.
Signing off. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Sure.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay.